Shalom, shalom. This is your brother Shataria here at Chicago Branch Great Millstone, prophesizing the return of the Heavenly Father Yahweh and the Son Yahweh Shai. You all ignorantly call him Jesus, but his true and Hebrew name is Yahweh Shai. Coming at you with another lesson. Lord will, it is edifying through the Spirit. But as always, before we get started, we're going to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Reka'ah Kadash. Double honors to our apostles and our elders here at Great Millstone who rule and teach well. Honors to the hopeful elect. The so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans are the biblical and true Hebrews of the Bible. Salutation to all the Akim out there pushing this word in truth and sincerity, the speckled bird, and all those whose lineage goes back to our forefathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, healthy Barakatah, and the Akwaf. That's you sisters. Those of you out there listening and learning in silence as the scriptures say to do so, to you I say shalom. Okay, and I have a video here. I'm going to play it. Before I do that, let's get this copyright disclaimer out the way so I don't lose another channel. YouTube is something else. They're shadow banning and censoring all the videos. Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright of 1976. Allowances made for fair use for the purpose such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, education, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. So without further ado, let's jump right in.
Damaged or at least destroyed at least 228 structures. Israel insists on keeping the United States in this disastrous war, knowing how much it has already damaged our military sites across the Middle East, across the Gulf. In fact, the Washington Post has a new exclusive that dives into just how extensive that damage is based on satellite imagery. Iranian airstrikes have damaged or at least destroyed at least 228 structures or pieces of equipment at U.S. military sites across the Middle East since the war began, hitting hangars, barracks, fuel depots, aircraft, and key radar, communications, and air defense equipment. In fact, Iran was very strategic in their strikes early on in the war, going after our radar systems and essentially crippling what we had left of our depleted missile defense systems. And while CNN reported just last week that 16 U.S. installations had been damaged, the Washington Post has learned that the situation on the ground is actually a lot worse. The review by the Post, based on images dating from the war's start through April 14th, reveals that scores of additional targets were struck at the sites. The destruction is way worse than what the White House is ever really willing to acknowledge. But unlike the indiscriminate bombings that the U.S. and the Israelis have engaged in, along with the intentional bombings, of course, of schools and hospitals, Mark Kansian, a senior advisor with the Center for Strategic and International Studies, says that the Iranian attacks were precise. There are no random craters indicating misses. Isn't it kind of strange how the country that we're supposed to be so scared of after decades of U.S. fear-mongering about them tends to be a lot more responsible in what they're doing? They're targeting military sites. Our government has decided to go after civilian infrastructure, schools, universities, hospitals, things like that. It's kind of gross. And it sucks that we have now undergone the Israelification of our military. I think it's sick. And it, turns out that these strategic strikes that Iran had been carrying out were more effective, obviously, than indiscriminate bombings. The threat of air attacks rendered some of the U.S. bases in the region too dangerous to staff at normal levels. And commanders moved most of the personnel from these sites out of the range of Iranian fire at the start of the war. So after Trump launched the war, he expressed absolute shock over the fact that Iran retaliated by striking U.S. military bases in the Gulf region, which kind of gives you an idea of how ill-prepared and ill-informed our president was going into this mess. Now, experts who reviewed the Post's analysis said that the damage at these sites suggested that the U.S. military had underestimated Iran's targeting abilities, not adapted sufficiently to modern drone warfare, and left some bases underprotected. Trump didn't expect Iran to close the Strait of Hormuz either, but he, never hesitates to take advice from the Israelis, who have obviously led him astray. So, in the meantime, we're stuck in a war that benefits no one other than the very people who tricked Trump into this war in the first place. And people get real upset when you say that. They think it's anti-Semitic, which I dismiss immediately. I'm not even going to engage with that. But they think that it robs Trump of his own agency. No, it doesn't. He's a fool for trusting the Israelis. He's a fool for surrounding himself with pro-Israel individuals and never listening to anyone who might, have a different opinion about how this war should be carried out, or maybe a different opinion about whether or not this war should have been carried out in the first place. But we're stuck with this guy, and we're stuck with a crumbling global economy with no end in sight. And when Israel questions why people hate them, I love how they immediately point to anti-Semitism, when in reality, the war that they've been egging on for decades is crushing people across the globe economically. I think that might have a lot more to do with the disdain that people feel toward Israel right now.
Every time you ring the bell below, an angel gets his wings. Totally.
Well, there you have it, Israel. Okay, that's the skinny, all right? That's the 411, okay? All right, but the cat is out of the bag now, okay? The secret is out. The whole congregation, the whole world knows that Babylon, aka America, the mother of harlots, mistress of witchcraft that rideth upon the beast, and the beast is NATO and EU, all right, is ran by the global banking elites. America is ran by the international bankers, Amulac, the small hatters. By the way, they are the chief tribe of the tabernacles of Edom, okay? All right, Amulek. Teman, which are the Germans, they are the smartest tribe of the tabernacles of Edom, all right? Okay. And Russia, which are the Medes, they are the strongest tribe of the tabernacles of Edom, and they occupy the footprint of the bear, okay? All right. So this place is ran by the international bankers. This place is ran by the global banking elites. All right. The educated elite. Not just educated in the suit and tie sense of the word, or the mainstream sense of the word, but they're educated in the hidden mysteries of the occult. They're educated in black magic. These mysteries date all the way back to the ancient Assyrian Empire. Witchcraft, okay? The Chaldeans, Romans, Edomites, all right? Okay? That's who runs this place, all right? In fact, that's who runs the whole world, okay? Job 9:24, the earth is given into the hands of the wicked. They are the wicked. They cover the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he? Roughly paraphrasing. So they control DJ Trump, all right? Okay. Nero Trump. They control Kim Jong-un, okay, over there in North Korea. They control Xi Jinping over there in China. They control Vladimir Putin. They run the whole world. The earth is given into the hands of the wicked. All right. But Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai controls them, okay? They're a puppet. They're his personal puppet, okay? And he's pulling their strings, all right? I was on the line last Saturday and I said, you have a choice, a good choice, a bad choice, a right choice, a wrong choice. And before I could finish, my elder Yakia stepped in. But the way he phrased it was exactly what I was trying to say. Okay, you may appear, or Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai may give you an appearance or create an illusion that you are making your own choice, okay? But in actuality, there is no free will, all right? Okay, so you're going to lean whichever way the Lord leans you, okay? You're going to bend whichever way the Lord bends you, okay? You're going to bend to the left, and that's Esau Edom's side, the wicked side, because everything they get on the left-hand side. Another lesson for another time. Are you going to lean to the right side, which is the good side? We know that because Yahweh Shai sits on the right hand of the Father, right? Hebrews 1:3, Mark 8:34. You can get a lot of scriptures on that, okay? But that's another lesson for another time as well. But there is no free will, okay? You're going to lean whichever way the Lord wants you to lean. You're going to do whatever Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai wants you to do. All right, let's go here real quick. All right, Proverbs. Let's get Proverbs. And we need Proverbs 21, okay? Proverbs 21:1 at the top. It says, the king's heart, and the Hebrew word for heart is lab. That means your mind. So the king's heart is in the hand of the Lord. As the rivers of water, he turneth it wheresoever he will. Okay? You see what I'm talking about, Israel? Proverbs 21:1, the king's heart is in the hand of the Lord. As the rivers of water, he turneth it wheresoever he will. All right, okay. Let's line back and build off of that to show you that the Lord is in control of everything, all right? Okay, Proverbs 20:24. Let's grab that. Proverbs 20:24, okay? You see, man's goings are of the Lord. How can a man then understand his own way? Huh? So the Lord is in control of everything. He's pulling their strings, all right? He's pulling their strings. They're bending whichever way he bends them, okay? All right? So there is no free will, contrary to popular belief. Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai is in control of everything, the good and the bad. Proverbs 11:1. That's that balance that he has, okay? A false balance is an abomination to the Lord, okay? So you can't have good without having evil. You can't have happy without having sad. You can't have bitter without having sweet. A false balance is an abomination to Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai. Proverbs 11:1 at the top, okay? But see, now, she kept saying that Israel is keeping them in the war. Our military has been Israelified, Israelificated. That's true, okay? Because this place has been hijacked. But it's always been ran by the global banking elites, the small hatters, okay? All right, so it was prophesied, okay? This is prophecy being fulfilled. This is the Lord's word going forward, okay? And that's the name of this lesson, prophecy, all right? But this is the Lord's word going forth. This is the word of the Lord being fulfilled. Prophecy being fulfilled, okay? All right? Let's go here real quick. Let's grab Jeremiah. Let's grab Jeremiah, and let's grab Jeremiah 49. And we need Jeremiah 49 and 20. Jeremiah 49 and 20 says, therefore, hear the counsel of the Lord that he have taken against Edom, and his purpose that he had proposed against the inhabitants of Teman. Surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. Surely he shall make their habitation desolate with them. See, this is prophecy. It was prophesied Israel keeping them in the war, she just said. Their military being Israelificated. But this is the word of the Lord going forth. This is the Lord's word being fulfilled. This is prophecy being fulfilled, okay? All right? And it was prophesied that the least of the flock shall draw them into this war. And there's no turning back right now. Everything is full speed ahead, okay? All right, Israel? This is the war of wars. This is the war of Armageddon, WW3. And it's underway already. It's just in the early stages. It hasn't reached the apex. It hasn't reached the climax yet. Jeremiah 49 and 20. Therefore, hear the counsel of the Lord that he have taken against Edom, and his purpose that he had proposed against the inhabitants of Teman. Surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. Surely he shall make their habitation desolate with them. Okay, let's go here. Let's grab this real quick. Give me that Isaiah. And I need Isaiah 55. Isaiah 55 and 11. It says, so shall my word be that goeth forth out of my mouth. It shall not return unto me void, but it shall accomplish that which I please, and it shall prosper in the thing whereto I send it. So like I told you at the top of the lesson, this is the word of the Lord being fulfilled. This is the Lord's word coming to pass, all right? This is prophecy, which is the name of the lesson. And the prophecy door is about to shut on 2/3 of you jakes, all right? Because these end time prophecies are being fulfilled right before our eyes, okay? These end time prophecies are being fulfilled. And this prophecy is going forward. It's been fulfilled, okay? Again, Isaiah 55 and 11, so shall my word be that goeth forth out of my mouth. It shall not return unto me void, but it shall accomplish that which I please, and it shall prosper in the thing whereto I send it. All right. So this is prophecy being fulfilled. The word of the Lord is coming to pass. Okay, Israel. All right. Jeremiah, let's get it again. 49, okay, and 20. All right. Therefore, hear the word, Salakia. Therefore, hear the counsel of the Lord that he have taken against Edom, and his purpose that he had proposed against the inhabitants of Teman. Surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. Surely he shall make their habitations desolate with them. So this was prophesied that Israel, the small hatters, okay, Amalek, that's who's over there, would pour Babylon, aka America, into this war, and the prophecy has been fulfilled. The word of the Lord has been fulfilled, okay? It's went forth, okay? Prophecy. There's no turning back now. It's in the early stages, like I said, but it hasn't hit the apex or the climax yet, but we'll get there, all right? Where do I want to go? Let's go here. We'll get ready to close it. I just wanted to pretty much prove a point. 2nd Esdras. All right, let's get 2nd Esdras 15. 2nd Esdras 15. And we'll start at the top. 2nd Esdras 15, okay, at the top. It says, behold, speak thou in the ears of my people the words of prophecy, which I will put in their mouth, saith the Lord, and cause them to be written in paper, for they are faithful and true. You see what I'm talking about, Israel? This is the word of the Lord being fulfilled. This is his prophecy going forward. All right? Prophecy, okay? And the spirit of Yahushua, you all ignorantly call him Jesus, but his biblical and true name is Yahushua. Okay, the spirit of Yahushua is prophecy, all right? Revelation 19 and 10, we'll probably close with that, okay? All right? But this thing is going full swing ahead. There's no turning back. There's no getting up out of this, okay? All right? So I said this was going to be a short lesson this morning. Lord will, it is edifying through the Spirit. But before we close, we're going to get that Jeremiah 50. Let's get Jeremiah 50. To land back off that Jeremiah 49 and 20. Jeremiah 50 and 45. And it reads, therefore hear ye the counsel of the Lord that he have taken against Babylon, and his purpose that he hath proposed against the land of the Chaldeans. Surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. Surely he shall make their habitation desolate with them. So it was prophesied that Israel would pour Babylon, aka America, into this thing. And we know this is a future prophecy that I just read right there. This Jeremiah 50 and 45, okay? Jeremiah 50 and 45. Again, therefore hear ye the counsel of the Lord that he hath taken against Babylon, and his purpose that he hath proposed against the land of the Chaldeans. Surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. Surely he shall make their habitation desolate with them, okay? All right? And this is the Lord's word going forth. This is the words, Lord, being fulfilled. This is prophecy being fulfilled. For the spirit of Yahushua's prophecy, all right? We'll close with that. Let's get that and close the lesson. Revelation 19 and 10. And it reads, and I fell at his feet to worship him. And he said unto me, see thou do it not. I am thy fellow servant and of thy brethren that have the testimony of Yahushua. Worship God. For the testimony of Yahushua is the spirit of prophecy. All right. So there you have it. This is a prophecy that's been fulfilled. Like she said, Israel keeping them in the war. The military has been Israelified. All this was prophesied, okay? And it's through the spirit of Yahweh Bahasham Yahushua. Prophecy. Revelation 19 and 10. And I fell at his feet to worship him. And he said unto me, see thou do it not. I am thy fellow servant and of the brethren that have the testimony of Yahushua. Worship Yahweh. For the testimony of Yahushua is the spirit of prophecy. All right. That's pretty much all I have. Lord will, the lesson was edifying through the spirit. In closing, I like to say Shalom, Kwam Yasharala, and Abba Babo. Until the next time.